appreciate that, man. We need more true soldiers like you guys. And so I really appreciate that. I wanted to get out the way, but
absolutely. Welcome to Round Table.
Well, and Steven, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, man. And Rob, as always, it's fun to co-host this thing.
Now, we met you originally at the Members Mixer a while back. Tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Well, it's just like a each one teach one thing. I think some people invited me in, kind of showed me the ropes, helped break down some barriers and some stigmas for me, even in myself, to let me know that there are other options. Whether they're right or wrong, that's to be determined. But people have introduced me into a lifestyle that other people enjoy or require. And I think, we need to listen to that community and see what their needs are, like we do everyone else's.
I agree with that. Did you get a chance to shake hands with the new executive director of Normal?
Is that Sean McAllister?
Well, no, that's DFW, Eric Altieri.
Oh, Eric Altieri. No, I did not. I actually did not get a chance to meet him, but I would like to. Like I said, I appreciate all the nonprofit organizations and their efforts and people on the ground, speaking up for something and when you believe it, because that's what I truly believe in, standing up for.
About what kind of gauging where you feel or like where you are on the political spectrum, just in the social spectrum, just in terms of not just marijuana and hemp, but also just the bigger picture, just with drug policy. I know you had a lot to say about it that we really didn't get to break into. I just wanted to give you the floor to kind of dig in deeper about where you stand on reforming cannabis laws and drug policy.
Well, I guess personally, I think when you see that there's been a huge shift in thought, I'll say, in the United States. And I think anytime something like that happens, it deserves some attention. I don't care what it is. Let's go with some other things. This thing at Standing Rock. When there's something that's causing some attention, we need, as a people, to open up our ears and listen to both sides and see what the justifications are and the ramifications. Because every cause has an effect. We know that. But if we come together and hear both sides of the people and genuinely listen, I think that's what can open up opportunity for some change or some reform to assist everyone. And that's what the end goal is, to provide a healthy economic system for the United States of America.
Talking about it affects us in multiple different ways. Like it affects us with the job market. I was just watching it. I think we mentioned that earlier as well. It's an ex-con who was a nonviolent drug offender, can't even get an apartment. You know how cold it is outside right now? It's like, it feels like 10 degrees, but I think 40, but can't get an apartment because they have a nonviolent, or they have a drug offense on their record, and yet, so what are they supposed to do? Like in times like this, like, you can't help but support reform and change when you think about like someone stuck on the street right now just because of the way the law has been written. Right. I mean, I don't know if the round table agrees. You guys agree or anything?
Yeah, I agree. Mass incarceration is a big concern of mine.
So, and as we return back to mass incarceration, you made a good point that he made a good point off camera, actually, about doing your own thing, that it's difficult to sustain an economy or a market when half the population's in jail. So it's like you have to really think: do we need like an overpopulation in prison?
Well, I guess to your point, that is the major problem. We can't move forward with a broken system, what you're referring to, that used a system to oppress a certain or target a certain group of people. We cannot ignore that. We know that, but we have to figure out how, as a country, to come together and deal with that together. And that's the main thing I think what people really need to realize. It's understood that it's happened, but how do we deal with it? And face on. And
well, and then just not just that. I think we just have to call it out. Like I can't speak for you guys, but in my opinion, just after this semester of college and everything, a lot of the enlightenment I got on the history of America is that there's a lot of racial tension that's connected to these laws. Racism and bigotry and just hatred for one another, that's also tied into the marijuana debate, the drug policy debate, the mass incarceration debate. I mean, Harry J. Anslinger was quoted as saying, white women, was it marijuana makes white women promiscuous with black men? Exactly. And I mean, when you, and this was a federal official, so when you have, so he took our tax dollars to basically preach hatred, and this was the person we now reflect our laws from.
Right, and that's why one of the reasons that actually activated me to become an activist for it is because we do need to reverse that stigma. And as a group of people, not as pointing fingers, but as a group of people, as a country, come together and find a way to say, hey, we're finding valuable medical options with this, and it's over-criminalizing certain targets, group of people. So we gotta reverse that. How can we reverse the economic?
Just we need to get the country involved. This isn't just a Texas issue. I mean, for our fans out there, shout out to our DFW fans and shout out to our Texas fans in general. But marijuana isn't just a Texas issue. Like Mexico just legalized or decriminalized it, I believe. It just came out. And I mean, well, why is that a good thing for us? Is because they just stopped the drug cartels. That's one less drug they have to bring over here.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple different things to say. I mean, even though cannabis is medically or even recreationally legal in some of these states, including California and Colorado, manufacturing is a problem. They view manufacturing akin to some Heisenberg type stuff. So, say someone is blasting a pound and turning it into an ounce of wax, like that's a problem pretty much anywhere in the United States, according to any sort of law enforcement, especially federal law enforcement. So it attracts a lot of attention.
And what about the recent one about how CBD is now should now be a Schedule I narcotic?
See, it's such a hypocrisy because they have that patent that says that cannabis is efficacious against, is a neuroprotectant that's efficacious against different types of diseases. You have, it's the majority of states now say medical marijuana is on board, including Arkansas and Florida, the first two southern states to step up. And I'm telling people, Texas, it's not too late. With SB 269, if we can pass SB 269, Texas in 2017 or 2018 can come on board, and then we can get medicine to patients, and we're going to help people with diabetes, we're going to help people with their cancer or at least the side effects of chemo, we're going to help people with their Alzheimer's, we're going to help people with different disorders.
Well, and
PTSD.
I should also make this disclaimer, GCC Productions does not support illegal activity. I will say this, respect the hustle. We'll get into that. It can be, but at the same time, just do it. Hey, you do you. I'm gonna do me. Go ahead.
So first off, I've been calling it reefer madness rhetoric. So whenever somebody says something like marijuana makes people violent, or if they call it marijuana, or like to drop this one on them, they'll be like, well, you're just a stupid stoner, or you just want to get high. I'll be like, well, what do you think about dextromethorphan hydrobromide? Usually that's pretty much the response. Right. Dextromethorphan hydrobromide is a molecular cousin of tetrahydrocannabinoid, which is THC, as well as CBD and other, it's got other things in it. It doesn't have THC in it. It's synthetic THC, basically. It's like Marinol or something similar. It's comparative to that. And it's got a little bit of alcohol mixed into it, so a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of synthetic THC, and in your NyQuil, and you go to sleep and you wake up ready to go to work in the morning. Suddenly that headache's gone, that fever's gone, that stuffy nose is gone, and you're